Everybody. So, welcome to Living in Love Abroad. I am Elton,
I'm Danielle.
and today we have Ian and Allin Clement. Did I say your name right?
Yeah.
We're so excited. Ian is, I'll let Ian tell what he does, but Ian has helped our family in a big way since we've moved here. We love working with him. He's super friendly. But when I met Ian, I wanted to talk about, I was telling him, me and Danielle, a married couple, he was telling me about his wife, and I was like, I would love to interview you and get to know you and your wife. And so now here's that opportunity. So I'll let them talk about who he is, who they are, and their journey of love and how they met. So,
Good, good. Yeah. So, thanks for having us on your channel, and we're excited to share our experience with you all and get to know you better. So, Eileen and I met in, I think it was like 2004, 2005. My parents were here. I grew up here in San Miguel, and so I was here on a break, and I was actually sitting right out there because before, um, long ago, back whatever it was, 20 years ago, my mother had a shop in the same building. She had a framing shop before I had this as my office, and so she was helping Aline. Aline was finishing college, and she was doing her final project. That's a photo over there? Right? I'll show you later, but um, she was helping her do some framing, and they were becoming friends. And and so I was waiting out there. I was just killing some time. I forget what I was doing, but Aline came out, and I saw her, and she looked really pretty. She always looks pretty.
Gracias.
And and then I asked my mom, "Who is that?" Because I wanted to know who she was because she usually works with people her own age, so it was a little bit different that she had somebody. And she told me her story that she was an art student finishing her final project for art school, and she said, "Oh, and by the way, she has an art exposition. She has like a showcase of her photographs, um, right around the corner here on another street right around the corner here." And it was like 2 days later, and so that evening I went out and I went to her show and I looked her because there were probably like 50 people there. And I was nervous. I usually don't go out to stuff like that. Like I socialize with my smaller group of people, but it's unusual for me to just strike out like that and look for somebody. And and I saw her and she was explaining a photograph to a group of people, and then I caught her eye once she was done explaining the picture to the people. I said hi to her and I introduced myself, and she had seen me, so she remembered who I was, and immediately I could tell that she was willing to talk to me a little bit. And so I asked her if she would show me her photos, like because it was like an upstairs downstairs gallery. And I said, "Hey, can you show me your photos?" And she showed me her photos, and immediately we had a connection. I could tell that I liked her, and the energy was right. And
Es que estás muy guapo. Well, is his history, but my history is maybe 1 or 2 weeks before I saw him walking on the street, and I bought a coffee in this moment, and I'm go, qué guapo, and I continue drinking my coffee. But 2 weeks before I saw the guapo just sit outside of the frame shop, and when he went at the gallery, was like, oh, here is the guapo, and the rest is history.
yeah, and then that night she finished up because she had to be there. I mean, she was there for a couple more hours. Had to Not had to, but was happy to. Um, do her exposition, and so I went and did a couple of things, and then we met up. I think we met up later that night, like at 8 o'clock or something, to have a drink, to know each other.
that was the first date.
That was our first date. Yeah, and we got to know each other that night. It was a Friday. Was it a Friday?
Yeah, the Viernes de Dolores here in San Miguel, it's a
Yeah, it was a
holiday.
festival day, and so we we were friends immediately, but I was real immature, so we would go out, and I've always had like a cynical sense of humor sometimes, and so I would get on her nerves because I would make fun of her about whatever it was, just like a little jab or this or that. And so from that date, we would see each other maybe like once a week, and then we would go out at night sometimes, or we would on a Sunday we would go swimming or stuff like that. We would just hang out because I was not in law school yet, and she was finishing school, so we were like at different positions. And I knew I didn't want to go back to the U.S. I knew that I wanted to stay here, but I wasn't sure what my next move was. So it was kind of a transitional period for me. And but we really had a good time hanging out, spending time together, and it's easy because my parents really liked her. You know how it can be a lot easier when parents like the person that you're dating, and it's not there was just good chemistry all around. And then eventually I met her parents, and that's a whole nother story we can talk about. And it was all good stuff, but we still see her mom all the time. We were just over at her mom's house the other day, and in fact, we're building a house right near my mother-in-law now, so we're almost done with that. And she's a neighbor.
Cool. Congratulations.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, that was our first encounter, and yeah, and she and I both hit it off, and this town was a lot smaller back then. It was a different experience. There were only a few. I mean, it was still not tiny like when I was a kid here, but it was a different experience. It was a smaller place. There was fewer people, and so when you here, if you were here for a few months, you would see most people. You'd cross paths with them. Now it's much broader range of people that live here and come and go, and so I began to meet her friends. She began to meet people that I know here, and so it was an interesting period. And we were like 17, no, 20,
24.
2004, 5.
When we
It was like 2005, right, when I met you?
mm,
So we were 23 or 24.
20,
We can't remember which one it was, 23 or 24.
25.
So
Yeah,
we were,
yeah.
So we were,
Yeah.
we were youngsters, younger than now. So that's almost 20 years ago, 18 years ago that we started to run
Yeah.
together. And so, it's
I met when we met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes we talk about like, it feels like an eternity, like all the
Yeah.
experiences, all the stuff.
Yeah.
And other times it's just like, it feels like a flash of time that, I don't know, time.
So fleeting. Time is
Exactly.
fleeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think
with the
that-
kids.
Yes.
Right. And like every
Yeah.
stage in your life, it's time has like a different feel to it, because I work with a lot of clients who are older, who are 60s, 70s, 80s, and they go, no, if you're just getting to know like how fast time feels, because when you're 60, 70, 80, you still, you're like, gosh, time is going by so quickly. So enjoy it, and we try to make the most of it. Yeah, so that's our first meeting and sort of getting to know each other. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess tell us about your when you realized that you were meant to be in. I guess when
This is
yeah,
this is going to be my
who
wife.
yeah
This is
yeah
gonna be
when you
my
realized that you guys wanted to be together, and the proposal story. We love a proposal story.
Yeah, proposal story. Yes.
You want to go first?
No, you.
You want me to say? So
My English, no, it's
it's funny you say
it's
that,
the best.
my aunt was just here from LA, and we hadn't seen her in a long time. She was at our wedding in 2008, and so I hadn't seen her in about since like 2017. I think we went out to see her, and
Yeah.
so it's funny you bring that up, because we were at my mother-in-law's house, and my mother-in-law has photos all over the place. She's got photos of everything as time went by. So the little kids growing up, and Nico's got like 4 cousins, so there's photos everywhere of the kids and us. And there's a photo that it's funny because about 2 weeks ago I asked her, "Where is that photo of you sitting in the tree?" Because we went to my family's from right outside of Philadelphia. Well, they're from Philadelphia, but now my grandparents at that time they lived outside of Philadelphia. And there's this beautiful place that I want to go back to.
Let's go.
She
Let's
said,
go.
let's go.
Yeah.
Vamos.
Muy frío.
Oh, but it's cold. She said.
Yeah.
And there's this place right across the border in Delaware that's called Longwood Gardens, and that's what this beautiful place that's like acres and acres and acres of flowers and greenhouses and millions of things, all kinds of botanical stuff, gardens that the DuPont family set up, I guess in the 50s or 60s. But anyway, we went up to meet my grandparents because they were old. They were like in their mid 80s when this was all happening, 80s, mid 80s. And so we decided to go take a trip to see them. We had a really nice time, but one of the moments I remember like really knowing that she was for me and that I wanted to be with her and that we were meant for each other was we spent this whole day walking around this place, Longwood Gardens, and we took photos and we sat in this tree. And I always remember this sitting in this tree that has a branch that's like that, and took the cutest picture of her.
Yeah, really romantic place.
It was really romantic. Yeah, it was a really romantic place, and it was springtime. I think it was May. Yeah, I think it was May.
May, yeah.
It was May, and so everything was blooming. And it was really romantic, and
we know in this moment.
yeah, and we knew that we loved it. I mean, I already knew I
And
loved
this is
her.
the ring of his grandma.
Oh,
Yeah, that's her engagement ring.
Mm.
And yeah, and so we had a really nice time on that trip, and she got to know some of my family up there, and so it was a defining moment. And it's funny because I was asking her, "Where is that photo? I want to show my aunt who was here. I want to show that photo of you in the tree, in that crooked tree." So I've always loved that photo, and then I went to my mother, and she said, "I don't know where it is." And I went to my mother-in-law's house, and she had it in a frame. I said, "Oh, remember we were looking for this photo?"
En esa época no existían las redes sociales, como teléfonos con cámara, ¿te acuerdas?
Yeah, and so she just said that, like back then, there wasn't so much social media. I don't think we were on Facebook, so it was like camera phones, and so we loved our camera phones, but we didn't post stuff on. I guess there was like MySpace or something, and probably Facebook existed, but it wasn't.
Can you take me
It wasn't
a picture?
something that mattered.
yeah, Facebook. Yeah, because then you had to have a college email address. I remember. Yeah.
Oh, you had to be. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So we were. It was like in its infancy, and then I think we got on Facebook like in 2010 or 11. So good times, and yeah, we were. Feels like a million years ago.
Is that when you proposed to?
Well, there wasn't like an on the knee proposal because well, we moved in together, and then soon after that, we planned to have a child, and it was sort of on a whim, and then it just happened, and then the ball starts rolling, and so we were planning for parenthood together, and when we went to the United States and got married, but I was so nervous. I was so young. I didn't start to really mature until I was about 30, and so everything was just
Sí,
like.
fuiste a mi casa.
Yeah.
A pedir permiso a mis papás.
My father-in-law passed away.
My family is it's a Mexican traditional family, and he needs to talk with my father.
Yeah. So when we decided to move in together, I went over to my parents-in-law house, who I didn't know that well. I mean, I knew them, but I didn't know them real well.
He's nervous.
Yeah.
But I was so nervous, and I went over and I asked my father.
Nervous now, like as you're thinking about it.
Yeah, my father-in-law was. he wasn't intimidating, but he was real serious. He's like this old school guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he wasn't laughy and smiley, and he loved his
Straight
family,
face,
but he
poker
was
face.
he was real serious. He was like a union guy.
Yes,
He was like
no.
a union electrician, and he meant business. And I said to him, "Yeah, I want your daughter. I want Eileen to come live with me." And he said, "Okay." He gave us his blessing,
Mm-hmm.
and so we then she moved in with me, and let's see. Well, while she was pregnant, she worked at a high school, so she had to work because we didn't have any money. I wasn't working yet. All of this was nowhere near. That was all around the corner, and then in that time, I was in law school. Yeah, so when fast forward from there, 10 months or 11 months or whatever it was, and I was in law school when Nico was born, and she was working at the high school. She was giving art classes at the high school, and so we were really just trying to trying to have a baby and for me to finish school, and it was a lot. There was a lot of stressful times.
Yeah, and
Money
us
was short.
family,
Navigating life.
his parents and my parents. Oh, we
Yeah, they were real
feel
supportive.
the support.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time with Nicholas, and
Yeah, they were real
yeah,
supportive
and
of
we
us.
this is part of the work every day, and I'm proud.
You got work.
Yeah,
Eileen's working. You in school.
Yeah.
Baby coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Money is short, and you're like,
Yes.
life is still, life don't stop.
Yeah.
It's still moving forward. So you're like, we got to figure out what we're
Yeah.
going to do.
we've
And
been there for sure.
we were 27,
Mm-hmm.
and so like very few of my friends, some of my Mexican friends had kids, but almost everybody that was American didn't have kids yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also been interesting to see like how
Yeah.
people in their mid 30s to their early 40s
Mm-hmm.
have kids. A lot of our friends have kids, in that period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Once they're established, once they've got their work going and they've got more traction.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's interesting to like. Yesterday we went to the airport to drop off my aunt for her flight, and I saw a guy that I know since I've grown up with here. He's an attorney too, and I've grown up with for years, and I know him. And he has like 5-year-olds. He has like 5-year-old twins, and we're the same age. And our kid's 15. He's almost 16. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like he's in such a different stage of parenthood.
Yes.
And it's fine, but it's just I think that now I'm glad that we had our son early in our 20s.
Yeah, me too.
And now he's we come to do this, meet with you guys, we can leave him at home. He's doing his thing, he's washing clothes or something like that. And so we got started not 21, not young like some people do, but
Yeah,
we got
but we
in our 20s, and so now
for
he,
us we
he
have
likes
the
to come.
perfect age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He comes here and works with us, and so it's fun to have a young adult in the house
Yeah, it's
rather
very
than
different. I get it.
little babies.
I think we were in our mid 20s.
I was 28 when we had
Yeah,
him.
we had our
Oh,
first
same
child.
as us.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then now we have a 6-year-old.
Yeah. So it's a different transition, and that's why even when we'll tell you from experience, financially we were good, but you can't prepare financially.
No,
for a
never,
child. There's
never.
We've had
No.
issues. Yeah, we've had extensive unemployment,
Yep.
like issues that got
maternity
laid off
leave
a few
stuff.
times.
Yeah.
And now, like seeing post-COVID and how
Yes.
everything is just through the roof.
Yes.
I'm like, man, I'm glad we did all this 15 years ago, and it felt expensive then.
Mm-hmm.
But like now, trying to do it now, I just feel I
Yeah.
feel like all the stress of young people who are going through
When
that.
Nicholas born, you remember the day of the Nicholas?
His birthday?
No,
Yeah, of course.
cuando nació.
Of course. We were just talking about that
he,
yesterday.
he was with me. He born in Mexico. He's Mexican American, but he born here in Mexico. And the doctor says, "Oh, you can't come with us outside of the parto." I don't know what.
Yeah, the birth.
And he was really nervous too. My husband is nervous. And I remember his legs on his hat. My God! Yeah, your arms.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Oh
My
yeah,
his arms.
I was in the delivery room, and I was not prepared. And
the most
I
funny
almost fainted.
moment.
I almost fainted. Because I don't know, it's so intense.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad I was there, but it was intense for sure.
She had an emergency C-section, and I was in shambles. She had, before that C-section, they had never had any type of surgery.
Nothing.
Ever. And so they're like, it's emergency C-section, there's something with the baby. And so now I'm very strong, but that broke me down because I'm like, it's my first child. I don't want anything to go wrong.
Of course.
And I'm calling some of my friends that have kids, and I was just like, she didn't know this, but I'm like out in the other room, and I'm just crying on the phone. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And they're trying to calm me down, so I get it. It was very nerve wracking.
And he was born, so it was Sunday night, and I'm studying for these final exams.
Oh, and you studied?
Oh, yeah. No, but inside was.
And I finally.
Oh my God!
But wait, the night before. So I finally finished. I'm like, okay, I'm ready for these tests tomorrow, and I go to bed. And she was sleeping a lot, or she was lying down a lot because she was so exhausted from being ready to have the baby. And so I lie down, and it's like 10 or 11. And like around 12 or 1 in the morning, she goes, I know it's coming. I know it's happening. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, this is real. And
I feel strange.
And our doctor was in Celaya. And in those days, there wasn't the highway to Celaya. It was like a windy mountain back road. Yeah, it was like a much different setup. Like now you get there quick and easy, and it used to be like switchback. And I can remember, okay, let's get everything ready and get in the car and go. And it was wild. And then, we got there, and then her parents got there, and I had breakfast with them. But it was also surreal. Like, I couldn't believe what was happening. And he was born like at what, 11? 10 or 11. Yeah, so everything should have hit a natural birth. But it was just
you had this whole birthing plan.
Crazy.
We had a whole birthing plan.
Yeah.
Nothing in the birthing plan went like how we went. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It was like we wrote it for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this went as somewhat as programmed, but we didn't have a scheduled birth or a C-section set up. So, and our doctor was great. He was like 70 something. So he delivered like thousands of kids, and he was real calming. We had the best doctor ever. We loved him. And so yeah, he was great for our first and only kid. And never forget that experience. And then coming home with the baby, and all of our parents were so supportive. So if anybody's listening, thanks for all the support. Yep. Yeah, everybody in our lives were really supportive of us during that period.
Yeah.
And
that's important.
And we had to grow up fast.
Yeah. Yes.
What qualities do you admire most in each other?
Traducción.
¿Qué calidades te gustan más de mí? O sea, de mis positivos. ¿Qué es
Tus positivos.
Mis atributos positivos. I would say that since I'm moody, I have like ups and downs, and things affect me. Oh my gosh, this and external things. She's real steady. I mean, it's like real steady, and so it's good for me to have her.
Like an anchor.
Yeah, like an emotional anchor, because I can be all over the place. As I age, it's good for me. But when I was young, I was sort of volatile, not
aggressive.
Not aggressive. No, I've never been an aggressive person, but like stressed or nervous. Like stuff gets under my skin, and I can't stop thinking about it. And she's real soothing. She's like incredibly. Just her energy is just like her pulse is just steady. Yeah, she's extremely. Yeah, extremely calming, and just honest and pure and good, and always, even if we disagree on something, her judgment is always going to be in the right place. And so we have disagreements and stuff all the time about this or that, but she always has like an honest judgment on something, the right way to do something. And so after so many years together, usually we don't have like major disagreements about things. I mean, sometimes things will be like, wow, I can't believe it, but that you want to go do this way or this that way. But for the most part, we sync up when it comes to decision making. And just everything. She never makes bad choices. Like, she's not materialistic, so she's not like, oh, I gotta go buy this, or I gotta do this, or spend on this or that. And so she doesn't stress me out as far as that goes. And then she's just the best mother I've ever known. She's like the very, very best mom, and just adores her son, and Nico adores our son. And yeah, I could go on and on about
Bueno,
her
ahora tú me
qualities.
traduces a mí.
She's beautiful.
Gracias, señor.
That just speak English, right? Whatever.
Es que no sé cómo decirlo.
Just give it a shot. I'm not gonna translate.
Okay.
I like her to use her English. It's good.
He's a good man. He's kind. He's kind, and he has a decisions in his life, and we have everything. He's a, ¿cómo puedo decir? Él da todo por su familia. I don't know. He's really good.
Oh.
Takes care of
He worked for his family. He wake up every day for his family. And we feel his love for us, for Nicholas and me. He's not perfect, but he fight for change when he don't like something, he fight for change the situation. Can you give me a tissue, please?
Yeah, you got me. I'm the sensitive one. I'm very,
Thank you.
This is important to me. Like these type of things, because I feel like
He's really. I like he fight for us. When we had some problems in the together, he decided for us. And yeah, I love my husband. Mucho.
Yeah, I mean, it's like everyone sometimes is selfish or impulsive or makes choices that goes against the grain, but for the most part, I think we always choose what's right for us as a family. And so, but it never feels like sacrifice. It never feels like, oh, I can't have what I want or anything like that. So I never feel like disillusioned by choices that we have to make. But yeah, I mean, both of us, definitely it's family first, and then family first, and then everything else. But we can make everything, everything falls into line. But your kids and your wife come first, and if you're a wife, then your husband and your kids come first. And we never had those things out of line. And the office, the staff, clients, all of that stuff matters, but you got to have peace at home for all of that to work. So for everything outside of the house to work, the inside the house has to be functioning. And so we always try to do that. And so sometimes, yeah.
You okay?
Yeah. I'm very sensitive when it comes to marriage. I'm very the reason for starting this. I'm very big on marriage, and we go to the beat of our own drum. A lot of times people do things, and you see it contradicting, and we've seen marriage fall apart. I come from my parents who divorced. And so it's big for me to see like this. This is more important to me than a lot of things. Family, my family is everything. So I get that part when it comes
Yeah.
to that. I want them to be taken care of. I want that legacy. I always tell her and my kids like I want you guys to have when you guys get in a relationship with me and your mother have. This isn't a facade. It isn't something that people see on social media. It's like this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is my best friend, and so I hope you
Yeah.
get that in your relationship.
No,
Yeah.
happens sometimes. We have something in my mind, and I said okay, something, and say, I have the same thing in my mind.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Tune.
Yeah, on the same page.
Yeah. Yeah, when you live with your best friend for that much time and you share so much like energy and thought process stuff, you'll be like, you'll think about something and then they'll finish your thought or know exactly like what the final piece of the sentence is. Like, how did you know that I was going to finish it that way, or how did you know that I was talking about that? Or so you started to get to read each other's minds a little bit.
Yeah.
How do you keep the romance alive in your relationship?
Especially during like busy or stressful times, or how do you keep it?
¿Cuál es qué?
Keep the
¿Cómo
spark.
se mantiene el romance?
Like the
Peleando y regresando. ¿Cómo se mantiene el romance? Oh, guys.
So, yeah, I mean, there's been ups and downs with that for sure. Like when you have a baby and your bedroom is full of baby and kids and all that sort of a thing. Like certainly, I mean, as far as like the physical side, that can be hard because you've got a crib and a baby and you're just exhausted, right? And so you don't have that. But
it changes.
We've been talking about we need to do more exercise together, and so like we like to walk together. We like to walk the dogs.
No, we like dogs.
We try to do dates, but truthfully, we don't do that much. Just the two of us. Like we don't go that way because we like to take Nico, our son. We like to do things as a crew, as the three of us. But yeah, the romance is definitely alive in our marriage, and I love her, and
I think so. It's I do some things for you, you do some things for me, or we feel this.
Yeah, and
We like to eat. He likes cook, or I like cook, and when
I like to cook for them.
Yeah. For example, this part, no, or the little things in the house, no, in the life. Open the door,
it's
or
the small things. It's like the familiar things. So I'm not gonna say that like she comes home and there's like a million rose petals on the bed.
We don't need to travel for Europe.
Things evolve, but it's more like you see that she's tired, right? Like doing the dishes.
Some days food. It's maybe one rose, and
I like to buy her flowers.
Or you look really good.
Compliments.
Compliments.
Yeah, so the romance is alive and it changes. I mean, with different stages in the marriage, no doubt.
For sure.
But there's definitely passion, and we always make time to spoil each other. So yeah, and try not to let work consume. Like sometimes I was like, oh my gosh, the only thing that you can think about is something in your mind. So you got to put that aside and just be with your wife, be with your son, and compartmentalize work from home life. Separate the two. Yeah. Before COVID, we used to go on a vacation to the beach like every year at Christmas or New Year's,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to get back into that. But in the last year, we've been building our house, and so like all of our money has everything goes to the house, and so that's like a love-hate relationship because we go, oh my gosh, like we spend everything on workers and on material and on building the house, and it is the ultimate goal that we want, like that's what we want to do, but it's also like the budget is, I just haven't even, I don't know, money right now. It's just like, okay, we need it. We got to spend it on the house. And the house is, we're going to move in soon. And so it's like a total
Almost.
commitment.
Every month says almost.
But every time that we go out to eat, every time that we're like, oh, let's go on a trip, every time it's like, no, first things first. Like, I'm not really even going to enjoy it because I know I'm thinking about the house.
But when your house says, oh, it's for the family, it's for us, it's part of the.
We'll talk with
You know?
with y'all about that off camera.
Yes.
He's really, he said it.
Yeah.
He every asked, do you like your house? Yo, sí, mi amor, sí me gusta. Muchas gracias.
So it's it's like the ultimate delayed gratification.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, wait, invest, don't spend, invest, don't spend, wait, and then everything. Because right now we rent, and the place that we rent is amazing, and our landlord's amazing. He's a friend of ours, and he's not outrageous with the rent with us, but just we're so glad we did it because housing is just going through the roof here and in the States and anywhere you go, anywhere you want to live.
Yes.
And so we know we made the right choice, but it's been a long year. Yeah, we started like May of last year, so it's almost a year.
Yeah.
And we're getting there, almost done.
Almost.
And every time we went out there
Yeah.
yesterday, every time we go out there,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I love it. Can't wait to be out here. And so it's been a journey.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, the first floor we can move into soon, so we'll have you guys out to we're gonna have a cookout, so we'll have you guys over.
Okay.
Can't wait for you to see it. Yeah, we're gonna have some
Por
friends
favor.
over, and we'll have a little cookout, and you'll meet the dogs and meet the house and Nico.
Celebrate milestones.
Yes, for sure. Okay. So, reflecting on your love story, what is one lesson that you learned about relationships?
Reflecting on her
Fear.
romance, marriage. Go ahead.
A ver. No, it's easy. You need adapt of the situations, but vale la pena.
It's worth it.
I love wake up every day with my husband next to me. I feel the support, his support every day. And yeah, vale la pena.
Yeah, it's worth it. I would say the same.
It's work.
Yes.
It's work. No, but
Yeah, I would say I feel blessed. I know a lot of people who, I won't put this on anybody else's words, but when you find somebody who loves you and can put up with your eccentricities and understand that you're imperfect and still be your biggest supporter, right? And you find that person to be the same, like to fill the same requirements and needs and expectations. That's rare, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like especially in these times when there's so many options and there's so many distractions and life is so much less simple. I mean, it was never easy to be married and to keep a marriage together, whether it's the 1800s or now.
Right.
But there's so much distraction and and there's stress everywhere you go, no matter what you do, whether you have money or you don't have money or you have kids or not. And so just to find somebody who's compatible, most of the time without major struggle, because we've gone through struggle, our marriage has gone through struggle. But as far as like finding somebody who you can count on, who you trust, who is going to be there for you through thick and thin, I feel blessed because she's that person for me, and I know that she feels like if things got even as hard as you could imagine, that we would be there for each other. So I can't see myself with anybody else. Absolutely not.
Sí.
Just
When you know, cuando tú sabes que no hay otra persona, ¿no?
Yeah.
Como que,
she's for me.
yeah, and he's for me.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Using that quote. Trademark it.
Yes. What advice would you give to couples who are just starting out their journey together?
Traducción.
¿Qué consejo le darías a parejas que apenas están empezando la experiencia de estar juntos?
Híjole. Como que no tengas muchas expectativas en cuanto a somos diferentes.
Right.
Es adaptación.
Okay.
Yeah.
Es dejar ir algunas cosas.
Yeah, I would say definitely every couple has fights, every couple has disagreements, every couple has blow-ups, and I think one thing that's good is like you have to agree to disagree on some things. You're not going to be, it's just like with friends, it's just like with coworkers, it's like with a marriage or with your kids too. There are certain things that you're not going to agree on, and you have to find a way to bridge with the things that you do know how to, like if you say, okay, there are 10 fundamental things in this marriage and 2 of them we don't agree on, but 8 of them we agree on as far as like value system things. Then you have to decide that like the majority of what your mission together is, and then you can work on those other 2 things. I mean, it's not about 10 things, but I'm just saying as far as numerically, if I could put it into perspective, because over time your needs and your values, they change. There's change in the marriage, and so what I hate to see is we'll meet some people and they get married and they seem to be very much in love, and then there'll be some contradictory experience, there'll be some wedge, and then after 2-3 years you see them distancing, and it's like you need time. Healing takes time, and so like also if you have a fight, one thing I would say to young couples is if you have a fight, go to another room, go do your own thing, let it cool down, because if you go into like fight mode and then you just keep it up, like here's an example. You have a bad experience in a night, and something really has you heated with your wife or your husband. Well, just go to bed and then make your best effort to not wake up and just start again with like railing about what you were upset about. And you have to give things time to heal, because then once you're like, okay, I've breathed, the adrenaline has subsided, and now I can think about this unemotionally.
Yeah.
Because we've had fights before where I'm like, oh my God, like I don't even want to talk, like, or I do, but if I do, I just want to yell. And then 12 hours or 24 hours will go by, and I'm chilled and I'm back at a balance point, and I've had some food and I've slept.
Yeah.
Sí.
And yeah,
Yeah. It's just that way.
Exactly.
Y
Like,
todos funcionamos
yeah,
diferente, ¿no? Todos
right.
los matrimonios funcionan
I
diferente
like
y
you said
todos.
unemotional. I feel like when you're emotional, you're not as logical.
No.
Exactly.
You say
Yeah.
things,
Sí.
you
And
do
you can
things
be
that
like,
you don't
the
mean.
knives are sharper.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh.
You say more hurtful things for sure when you're emotional.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y todos, cada matrimonio funciona diferente.
Each marriage is different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Each one functions differently.
Todo funciona cuando están los dos de acuerdo.
Yeah, and like she went on a trip last year. She went to Italy with her niece, and I remember, oh, it was hard for her to be away. It was like 5 days or something like that. And so I think that it's good to spend some time apart. So it's good. I mean, for our marriage, it's good because it reminds me how much I like to be with her. And so every now and then, it's good to spend a few days apart so that you can also clear your mind and realize how much you need your partner. But most of the time, we're like this. I'm like, hey, when are you gonna go? Come, let's hang out. Let's hang out like best friends. And so most of the time, it's like, hey, let's hang out. But I remember that trip last year was really nice because I was like, oh my gosh, like for one, I depend on her for so much, and two, it's just good to have the person that makes you feel good around, and then also like to talk about when she came back from that trip. She probably talked to me like 3 months about Italy, and oh, this and that. You got to go. I want to take you here. I want to take you there. And so like it built up an energy of her having done something and having and wanting to share that experience with me like on a second trip. And so it was nice to
Pero
not
te
have the
extrañamos.
conversation be about work or people that we both know or family. And what else would I say? I would say to couples, share things about your marriage with your friends and family, but also keep some things just for yourselves.
Sí.
Certain things aren't shared. Certain things, especially like negative stuff, like once it blows over, you're like, why did I even talk to them about that? It didn't matter anyway. But then that's like
what they remember.
Yeah, they remember it. And where you've blown that smoke off, sometimes people will be like, oh, like some people are more negativists and they remember negative information more than positive information. And so just be careful, like be respectful of some information's only for you two. And that's one of the beautiful things about a marriage is that not that I think anybody should be secretive in their marriage, but you shouldn't go out and publish everything with everybody that you know about your marriage because that's not their business. And so people can be gossipy, or they can redesign the story you told them and tell friends and stuff. And you're like, wait, that's not true. Like that's not even how it happened. Why are they talking about it that way? And so, definitely some things are to share. Some things are for within the walls of your own home. And one thing that I would say is as far as like parenthood, is parents discipline your kids, because if you have undisciplined, rude kids, then it hurts your marriage because it's really hard to deal with kids that are like out of control. Because then you're like, oh my gosh, and then it just makes. And so make your kids
more stressful.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like make your kids participate at home, because if you work a lot, at least with us, like if your kids help wash the dishes and they make their bed and they wash their clothes and they fold it and they care about their stuff and helping you, like making your bed once in a while, you feel appreciated as a parent, as opposed to kids who are just like, if you leave where they watch 6 hours of TV and you get home and they're like, hey, what are you gonna make me for dinner? So definitely, to any parent, we're not perfect parents in any sense, but I would say like get your kids involved in the house and at school and doing right, because then you'll always be proud, and you share that experience as a couple. You say, well, that's our project, that's our baby,
Yep.
as opposed to having stressed out kids or kids that aren't resourceful, can't take care of themselves once they're of the age to, like I would say maybe from like 10, 11, 12 on, make sure that they're building the capability to do stuff so that they're not so dependent.
Self-sufficient.
Yeah, right. Like make food for themselves,
Yes.
take out the trash, all the basics,
Mm-hmm.
which when I was a kid, I'm not sure how consistent my parents were, but like old school
I feel
kids.
like I did everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody's experience is different, but definitely watch your kids grow as far as them becoming more responsible, and then as a couple you'll really enjoy that. And once they're ready to go out of the house, you'll feel like comfortable, right? Like this kid's ready for college, this kid's ready for work,
Ready for life.
and ready for
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. Sí.
Yeah, and enjoy it. And I don't know.
Ríete mucho.
Sometimes we talk about
Yeah, no?
like whether I don't know, like the focal point of our marriage is our son. So we love each other, but the absolute, like the focal project of our marriage is raising our son. And so sometimes we'll analyze couples that don't have any kids, like marriages that don't have any kids at all. And it's interesting to us, like we'll microanalyze people that we know that don't have kids and go, gosh, like they're married, they're in love, but they don't have that focal point like we do of our child. And so I don't think that it's necessary to have kids, but I do think that like sometimes when everybody's low on energy and in a bad mood, it's like, yeah, but we've got the most important thing. Like it's not about us or our needs, it's about him. And so I know everybody's experience is different, but
Exactamente.
but I wouldn't be as happy or as fulfilled and in such a good marriage if we didn't have a happy, healthy kid who makes us so, like every time we see him, make us feel proud of what we've done. Yeah. So there's us, and there's us as individuals, and then there's us as a marriage, as a unit, which just has its own strength.
Sometimes it's complicated because we have a different nationalities and different cultures, different language. But he's my best friend. He understands me. I think I understand him.
You do?
And we, ¿cómo se dice? Somos muy graciosos juntos.
We have a lot of fun. We laugh a lot together. We laugh a lot because, well, I mean,
You know, we
look
have
at
the
things-
same.
Yeah, you watch the same people. You watch the same experiences.
No, pero como si tenemos. Entiendo tu sentido del humor.
Yeah, we understand each other's sense of humor.
Yeah.
So we definitely get a kick out of each other and
just enjoy each other's company.
Each other's company. And there's a lot of like nonverbal. Like once you get into knowing somebody really well, a lot of it's nonverbal, and so we'll just see something out in the street that just is like charming.
I can say yeah. It's part of the.
So yeah, it's a sweet marriage, and
sí me gusta estar casada.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
We really appreciate you guys doing this interview with us.
Our pleasure.
Fun.
It was good to think
made me
about
cry.
all this stuff.
Gotta stop crying on these interviews. But I really enjoyed it, and I just thank you guys for taking the time.
It was our pleasure.
Muchas gracias.
Yeah, anytime.
Tell people how they can, I guess, find you if they need like, your services or anything like that. Like you can, plug yourself real quick.
Yeah, so in San Miguel, anybody who needs legal immigration help, we work with everybody here in town, and we're at Pila Seca 3. right here downtown.
Mhm.
And you can find us on Facebook as Ian Clement,
Okay.
and on the internet as
Mexico.
ianclement.com.
Mhm.
And we just started a Facebook page for people to follow, which is Mexico is Home.
Oh, okay.
So please join and follow us on yeah. So please follow us and reach out if you need help. Anybody needs help, and like we love working with you guys, we love working with everybody in town.
Yes.
Yeah, I work with Ian,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
he's
Allin
a
helps me
lawyer.
with everything.
He's yeah. You have the multimedia.
Thanks, babe. Yeah.
Bye, you guys. I hope
Thank
you guys
you.
enjoyed.